jump on the site. But for now, councilroad.squarespace.com. And then when you're there, this is like the fast, easy way to access the site for editing purposes is to hit escape. So you hit that escape key. There we go. And mine is already logged in, but I'll log out real quick. Should have done that. From there, you'll be able to, you'll see this page. And I build a ton of websites, so I've got all these logins. But it'll look like this. And then, you sent that to them today?
Yes, I believe most of you have been sent over a contributor link. If you didn't get that, let me know.
So initially, you'll just go to your email and you'll click on a link there. You should be able to set up a password and all of that. But on a regular basis, go to the website, hit escape. It'll come up with this page. So you'll put in your email, put in your password, and log in. When you log in, you won't see all of the stuff that I've got, because this is all of the stuff for the website, more than you need to get access to or get confused by. But you can see there on number 4 on the list, the main things that it'll show to you are pages, marketing, and help. Pages is the section that you'll need to go to. So we'll click on pages. And then from here, now you're seeing kind of the structure of the website, all the pages of the website. And if you flip your paper over, there's a red box there. There it says primary navigation right up here at the top. This is the main pages of the site. Don't touch those, just leave those where those are. But starting here is where, as I understand it, each of you will have a page, or different people have a page that you'll be editing. So you can select one of those. I think I did preschool, so we'll go to that one as an example. Click on the page. I love Squarespace because it's so interactive and so just drag and drop. Should be very user-friendly for you. So click on the page that you want. It's as easy as that. Now we're on that page, and it's so interactive and intuitive. It's not coding. You have to type a bunch of stuff in. It's simply you hover over the page, and you'll start to see stuff. So as I'm hovering over the page, you see all these things popping up here. That's all opportunities to edit. So don't want to edit this. Scroll down, and now you're over the page content. And this is the area where you can edit and change it for your particular area. So we'll hit edit. And now we're on the page, and now we have this opportunity to begin to edit the page. And so Tim suggested I could talk through some specific areas, how to do text, how to insert a pic, and then how to do a form. So as I understand it, some of you guys, I know from being a pastor, you oftentimes will have different events and you need to gather information, right? You'll have those kinds of things come up. So we'll look at the form. That's probably will be the more complex of the 3 things. But for the very first thing, you can see over here on the left, this little teardrop shape. This is how you add content. And it's purposely indented, so don't change that spacing unless, Tim can lead that as you want, but it's purposely designed with that spacing on the side so that it's more easily readable, so that it's not all the way across the page. It's harder to read when the text goes all the way across the page. So leave those spaces as they are unless Tim decides or whoever decides they want to change that. But you can come here, see that little teardrop space, and now that would be inserting some sort of content where that is. So I click on that, and now I've got all of these options of different kinds of content I could insert at that spot. So for example, I could click the text box. Pretty simple, pops up, and now you can begin to type, and it just works like it would any word processor. If you highlight something, there's this space right here, a drop down, and you can change to a heading, larger, heading 2, heading 3, different size text. Bold, you can insert links by clicking on the little link button. You can, if you know what you're doing, if you're careful with this, link to other content on the website. So if you wanted to link to the calendar, if you had an event or something like that needed to link to the calendar, you could do that. Also, you can put files on there. So if you had, for example, if you were the kids pastor and you had some sort of release form, you needed people to read over this PDF, you could create a PDF and then drop that on here and people could download that PDF link. Also, there's external links, so if you're linking outside the site, that kind of thing. think if there's anything else on here. It's pretty straightforward, I think. So now once you've done that, if you decide you don't want that text box, which we want to take that back out, we just hover back over it again, hit delete, and remove it. So I should pause. Keep going. Is there any questions so far? I think it's fairly intuitive, but is there any questions at this point? Guys, we got it. Okay, so that's text box. Let's give another example here. I clicked on that little teardrop again. Image is right here. Click on image. One of the nice features about Squarespace that I've used, especially in our ministry context, nonprofit world, is it has access to a lot of free high-definition pictures that you can use as stock imagery. So if you do search for image, you can, if we're on the preschool page, if I type in kids, there's a ton of free stock images that you can just grab a hold of right there and pull in, so you don't have to go find all that stuff before you start working on it. So that's helpful, right? If you decide not to do that, you can just drag and drop an image on here and it'll just drop it into the page. Let's see, I'm not sure if I have anything really, hadn't thought about that, ready to go for that part. Let's see here. I'll pull in this as an example. This is from the tutorial. So it's going to pull it in, process it, resize it, all that. If I decide for whatever reason I want to change something about it, it does have a built-in image editor. So just click on that. It's going to pull that up. And from there, you can pretty standard change aspects of the image, also crop it up here. I think that's all fairly straightforward. So it allows you to basically do a lot of editing on the page. Very helpful. So again, if I want to remove this, just hover over it, can remove that block. One final thing that Tim suggested would be a helpful thing is that form. So if I want to put that down here at the bottom of the page, for example, click on that little teardrop again, and then we'll scroll down here to form. It has some built-in functionality already, or I should say fields, to gather information. Those are over here. And they're already all, I think, set to be as required to be filled in. But you can add more areas, lots of options here. So checkbox, check all of the options that you want, check which makes the most sense. You can do a survey if you wanted to gather information on a survey. What other things might be relevant to you all? What's that? Currency, yeah. Yep. So if people need to put in money for a trip or something, you could they could put that in there. Yep. Storage. So once you've filled out all the different things that you'd want to gather for that form, you do need to fill this out. So right now it's got my email. Once the site goes live, my email won't be the option anymore. But you put in your email. So you don't want this maybe you want this all going to the site administrator. Probably if it's your ministry area and you're gathering information, you want it going to you. So you would put your email in here. It also does allow for, if you're gathering a lot of, again, we're doing kids ministry, so if you're gathering like a ton of information on different parents or an event, for whatever reason you wanted that in a spreadsheet, it does have that functionality. You can click on Google Drive, connect in with your particular spreadsheet and keep track of that, share that with different people so they wouldn't have to have access to the site. I found that to be kind of helpful. Still have the information. You can share that with a few volunteers or whatever you would need to do. Cool. So, trying to think if there's anything else along those lines. Oh, advanced area, you can modify what message they get as they fill out the form in response as well. So, what questions do you guys have around form specifically or editing of the page?
This is a form question. With this stock picture on the top, is that just forever stock picture? So for each page, there's that stock image at the very top.
So my contract with you all was to design the site, and then Tim is your guy along with the team. I will decide how to change all that. So my guess is talk with him.
Yeah,
right?
But that's not like easily editable from our just started site.
Is that on the contributor, or is that just an admin?
In terms of, if you're just asking me if is that functionally possible, yes, that's definitely
Okay.
functionally possible. That is, let's see.
The best way to probably do that would be to just contact me.
Send you a picture.
Yeah, just send me what you want at
Okay.
the top. Because I know that there are spaces up there that make it format, you know, the same height and everything, so.
Yeah. So if that, however you want to handle that, functionally it's possible if you click on settings and then up here on the media tab, this is the thumbnail for the page currently.
Gotcha.
So,
Yeah. For stuff like that, just run that past me, since that's kind of a big part of it. I'm, you know, sure I'm not gonna decline many of those, but if, just run that past me and I'll, you can either send it to me and I'll upload it. Because we do want to keep formatting the same, where the picture's the same height and everything on every page, so, yeah.
On the forms for like, if you're receiving currency, like let's say I've got an event going on and I need to pull that money from my account, how does that happen through the website? Does that make sense?
it does, and that's kind of a sort of philosophy of how you guys want to handle that question. There's a lot of ways you could do that.
Okay.
You could embed a button that like goes to PayPal. You could have, there is built-in functionality you could do where you put products through Stripe on Squarespace. I don't know how you guys want to handle that, so.
I've set up, I think I'm setting up Stripe for the
Okay.
bookstore that
Okay.
we have, but as far as just receiving payments, probably PayPal would probably be the best. Is that probably what you would recommend?
Well, and that's sort of an accounting question. You could do that through Stripe if you already have purchased that additional add-on.
Okay.
So there's a way to do that. So, I guess I could go over that if you want to add that piece. I don't know how you want to handle
I
that.
mean, it's,
Would that be helpful for you guys to know how to, I mean, if you want to set up an online payment thing?
I would think
Helpful,
probably
yes, or-
the most things that we would need online payment for would be running through a venue on some level anyway. So I think the thing that makes more sense to me was just if you could continue to use the venue, have the link on the page, and they would then at that point leave the website and be
Yeah.
on a
Okay.
venue.
Okay.
I would love to have a donation part though. Like,
Sure.
if there's
Yeah,
a way
I
to
can-
do that, because a lot of times we take in donations and people ask us,
Hmm.
you know, to give online, and they can do that through the church, but if they could also do
Right.
it through.
So
one
that would
click
look like,
with
what that would look like on
donations.
your site, Carissa, you would set up an internal link to our give page,
Okay,
and on that, they could put in their.
Like
There you go.
doing, yeah,
Yeah.
Orphan or whatever.
we can
it
stick
is.
with that, yeah.
One thing that might be helpful, let's do a button.
Oh,
that
sure.
had a link to an
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
outside,
Yeah, great. Great
thing,
question.
so.
Okay, so we're,
Yeah, so there's an entire page for give. and
Yes,
inside that
I'll show you that.
there's Lots of options of what they can give to.
so up,
If they've never set it up online before, they'll have to do that one time. And then beyond that, they can set up recurring gifts or one-time gifts, but they do have to log in every time.
so here is that page, and then give would be here. So this is a great example, actually. So this is the third party or website that it redirects to
This is
for giving.
Right, right.
Um,
So let's say you wanted to take this web address and put that on.
Exactly. So if I wanted to do that, I could come up here, and I'm just going to Command C on my Mac device and just copy that. And now we'll go back to the preschool page, because that's where we were. And if I wanted to add a button that somebody is paying for, and you suggested donate. So I added that button. So sorry, I went fast there. So button is one of those objects. Okay, so then if I added it, now I can edit it still. And I can just change the text from learn more to donate. Now it's going to say donate. And I copied that URL, so I'm going to click here, and it's automatically going to an external page. I could redirect to another content page, as you suggested. I could redirect to the give page, but if I want to just go directly to that external link where someone could donate, I just do this. And then more than likely, I would suggest open in a new window allows people to have access to both. So open in a new window is probably the best option. And then apply and save. And now when I go to click on that, it's going to open a new page.
So the
Okay.
next step would be, if you've got somebody that's never logged into our site to pay anything, they would have to set up an account. So maybe one of your donate button would say, this is gonna send you to another website, you know, one of those just cautionary, this is gonna open a new page, you are gonna have to register, one of those types of things may be helpful. That way they know they're not getting redirected to something that's not us.
Right.
Mhm.
And like the paragraph above, you know, you could always say, you know, click the link below to get redirected to our giving, our online giving, or something like that, so, cool.
What other like specific cases of what if this comes up or how would I do this that you guys have?
So on the Wednesdays page, if you'll go to it,
Uh-huh.
there's a spacing.
I'm gonna remove this
question I
real
have
quick.
on the text that-
So Wednesday's
Yeah, all the way
page.
to the bottom,
Okay.
under foster adoption support group.
Yeah.
So if you look at that, spacing of the location,
Uh-huh.
and then you go to the ones around it, the spacing's different.
Yeah.
So I've already tried to fix it, and I don't know how. So if I hit.
Sorry. Okay. Yeah. So Squarespace just aesthetically is set up to do that
Yeah,
two-line spacing, but you can do single spacing if you hit Shift Enter.
okay.
But in this case, the more easy way to solve it is to just backspace up to the line we were on and hit Enter, and it's going to do the double space.
Great.
So, but you could hit, if I right now hit Shift Enter, it's going to go down to 1 instead of 2. So,
Cool, thanks.
So even
Yep.
if it's a continual paragraph, we would hit enter on each line, or is that the, you were just putting that application?
so in terms of with a second paragraph, like let's say we want to start with the group is the second paragraph, that would start a new paragraph that way,
Okay.
just by hitting a line.
Anytime you hit enter, not.
Right. So it's not indenting, it's just going down a line. Hmm. Exactly. Any other specific cases that you might have, or
So
how would I
in
do this?
the, who we are section,
Okay.
at the bottom of that page, there's a part where you can hit the PDF or
Oh,
our values or our.
Uh-huh.
that's me, I just haven't linked to that yet.
Okay.
Sorry, that's,
So there's no,
that's
okay,
me.
there's no link there.
Yes, I'm getting a freshly designed of our
Oh, okay.
statement of faith, so I just haven't
Okay.
linked to that yet.
I think statement of faith should be capitalized there too.
Great. I think you're probably right.
That's here.
Tim, this might be a question for you. So we are, just to be clear, we're not doing slash anything. It's just if we're gonna promote something, it's gonna be on our individual page.
That's actually, that's what Darren and I have, we were just kind of talking about, so,
You don't have to answer right now. It's
Yeah.
okay.
sure,
Why would we not do that? Slash students or,
well,
No,
to
no, no,
keep.
it's not slash students,
Like
it's
slash
if we
slash
added
big
slash
weekend.
BBS or big weekend,
oh,
or.
For
non-visible.
the
Kids
specific,
camps,
yeah.
or-
So you can create non-linked pages, that's getting a little bit more technical. By keeping it all on the same page, that allows you to have a standardized, like, straight down. Right,
Is that what you tell us? I'll do it.
unless that gets
Is
too
what you
long,
prefer?
let's try to keep everything on the same, so like the headline, so you.
Let's see.
Or I think it's actually students, preschool kids.
Yeah.
Karis.
So I would just need to
you know.
build like an events portion of that and.
Right, exactly. So under, you know, like, if preschool's doing an event, you know, you just add, say, something down at the bottom of that with an event, like a picture block and then text block or something like that. Correct me, I mean, anything's possible.
Lots of things are possible. It's all how you want to handle it.
Is keeping the same, like, main page header, unless it gets super long, normally would you say that's probably a cleaner, like, way to keep everything, rather than having a bunch of different pages with custom, like, URLs for?
Depends on what sense you're meaning cleaner. Cleaner from the back end, it's going to be a lot easier to manage it all. But
Right.
for the user, it might be, just depending on the case, it might be more clear to have a separate page.
Okay.
Yeah, depending on the
I'm kind
situation.
of thinking like I envisioned putting a resource section on my website, which could get
Okay.
really long, which would be a lot of
Okay.
information for foster adoptive families. But I'm thinking if I created a PDF with a lot of links and things, and then linking to the
You
PDF.
could just link that
on my
PDF as
page.
well, sure.
I mean, maybe that would be, then it would be on my page, but then it might have a click here for resources, click here for Big Weekend. I don't know if that would
Right.
help.
Yeah, I mean, I'll
Yeah.
try it.
The, there's multiple ways to kind of tackle that, and,
But the way we communicate is easier with fewer clicks that you have to
Yeah,
do to
I
get
mean,
to that.
it's
info.
easier to just put /students on every promo piece. we
Yeah,
do.
especially in our printed
Yeah.
matter, like the bulletin, all those announcements, you know, it's a lot easier with the extension.
with just like students or with like
Well,
slash like VW.
Anything that's having an event, women's celebrate, preschool, Caris, youth,
Yeah. On
so
some-
we may wanna think through that.
Yeah, on,
Can you say it again? So you're wanting direct, like if you have
That's a good
event that's
question.
listed on the calendar, like it's a church-wide event, but it's easier in terms of communication to just say it's direct to like the women's page or
Yes.
direct to the preschool page or,
Yes.
yeah.
yeah.
I can suggest an idea if you want right now, or,
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
Okay.
Everything we've kind of done with our old site, we're kind of throwing out the window. So anything that you have to make that easier, especially on us, I'm certainly for.
I'm also
so-
thinking of like,
so,
just someone in the congregation. So
Right.
they get the bulletin on Sunday, oh, I wanna sign my kid up for Big Weekend. Go
Yeah.
to just the website, now what?
Well, no, you go to counselor.org/students, I'd have a Big Weekend tab, so I can create like a secondary, I have the logo, and then the button like he did. that was
Right,
the
but
sign.
So-
how do we advertise that in print? Is it just?
Yeah, we
Slash
already have our pages /kids, /preschool, /students, we already have those.
So everything
So it's
is-
just not a
everything's-
new page that's /VBS,
so I'll suggest an idea functionally what you can do, and then in terms of like how you guys organize that, that's up to you.
Okay.
But what I would do if I was you, because I can see this in my head, is I would go to the calendar page and I would create, say you've got like a youth camp, or a youth retreat event.
Or
You-
actually, Falls Creek is already on there.
Falls Creek's already on
that
there.
is in, like example.
Great. So Falls Creek is on there. Falls Creek is coming up. That's an event. But you might want to communicate that publicly via bulletin or on a Sunday morning, whatever, and not have to have it be in multiple places because that gets confusing, right? So we've got the event already created here. And you could go into the event and you could even put the sign up link, the form in the event page. Then it's all centralized. It's not on one page here, and then it's on another page over here, and you're putting in multiple emails that all get to the same spot. That can get confusing. So if you put the form, we can go into this event and edit it and say, hey, here's all the things you need to know about the Falls Creek weekend. Here's the form to sign up. Here's how you go to pay. Click the link. All that stuff would be on the event page itself. And then what you would do, so if we go back to students and edit the page, we could, whether it's at the top of the page if you want to really get people's attention, or at the bottom, wherever you want to do it, you can drop an event into the page as soon as I see it here. I believe it is list and events. So you can go in, it's a little bit more than I can do right in this moment, but you can tag those events for youth, for example, create a tag for all the events that are just for students, and then I'd put in calendar and go to display, and I can display category filter only the students, and then that's going to put Falls Creek, Retreat, whatever up there. So then it would do what you're saying. It would redirect just to that students page, and they're going to see that's the immediate thing I'm going to click on, and then the form's in that.
Right.
event. That's how I would organize it.
I like that. If there's ever anything that we need a whole separate page for, like a hidden page, we can work through that on kind of an internal level. For instance, I made one for, I think Beth just left, for weddings. That's a form if you want to get married here, that there's not really a way to get to that on the site by like clicking to it, but we can tell someone or send them a link and say, hey, go to councilroad.church/weddings. And there's a whole form, it has a little bit of, I think like Rick's book I put on there, like stuff like that. So that's like an example of kind of a hidden, non-linked page, I think what
If
it's
it
called,
was-
so.
If you made it all central with the calendar page, theoretically, that would make publicity much easier, correct? Because like any event that you have any question about, you can
That's another
say,
option.
just
Yep.
Council Road, you know, like that being the hub spot. Is there a way on the homepage, we have like the scaling, calendar upcoming events? So if you put all the events on there, that could get really muddied really quick.
So-
Is there a way to prioritize those?
Yes, I have this, or, sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, this is all,
I have-
that's you, dude.
So what Sarah and I are actually gonna be working on is we'll be putting the events on the calendar, but whatever we mark as featured is going to hit the front page. So only featured is hitting their whole calendar will post everything.
So keep Sarah happy, that's what
Right.
you need to say.
But to keep the main thing, that's what we'll have up there. So yes, and you can sort that by tags or click the featured button, or there's multiple ways.
Multiple
you
ways.
can do that, but, yeah. So, cool.
Cool.
Okay, does, Mark, fabulous job explaining.
Yeah, for sure.
everything. The back into this is, in my opinion, really pretty easy, and I'm glad that, we have this design to work with, so.
Yeah.
One thing, just to reiterate, and Mark, I don't know that you know this, our network is actually called councilroad.org. It's the only network, I think, in the history of networks that's been called anything.org. So I don't think that once this goes live, that you will be able to get to it if you're on our network. It's the same problem we have now. So it will always have, until we spend a lot of money to change the name of our network, you'll always have to go to councilroad.squarespace.com to get to the edit. So just a caveat to what he's saying on this,
Okay.
Escape, that's probably not gonna work, because you're not gonna be able to get to it.
Okay.
What you get when you get councilroad.org on our network is not our website.
The-
So,
Then here is the alternative way to do that. So I can do this.
and
Let's see if
by
I
the
can-
way, it's .org, .church, or .com. Any of those council roads will get you to our website, so.
It may be a little bit hard to see if they're at the top, but this is the alternative way to get in. Council Road,
That's what we're gonna have to have, so everybody write this down.
councilroad.squarespace.com/config, CONFIG. councilroad.squarespace.com/CONFIG will take you to the same spot.
Can you say that one more time?
councilroad.squarespace.com/CONFIG, config.
Awesome.
Cool.
That fixes that. Does anyone else have any questions about how to add anything specific?
Social media for like our individual areas to add to our pages? Can we add, so like the students page have a social media, a link to
Yeah, I
their
was
social
trying
media
to,
account?
it looked like it's just linked to the church's one.
To the churches.
Right.
So we just
Mhm.
need to manually put that in.
Yeah, so, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I would do a hyperlink to that. Is that what you would do, or would you do?
Hyperlink, you can add links to images. So if I was you, I would just take these. I would take some social media icons and just put them on there. But yeah, it's set up so that functionally, and it's the reason why it's only one is for SEO purposes. So it's optimizing for search so that people will find you rapidly on Google. If there's a bunch of ones linked, it's going to put you down farther. So you want it this way, but if you put those images in there and link them, you can do the same thing.
Super fast, how to link, how to add a link to a picture.
Yes, I just said that, and I should have given an example. Sorry. So let's do that. So if we go back to preschool, this has been our page today, and go to image, we'll just give another example here and search for an image. Type in kids. Okay, and then over here on design, there's some different options you can do in terms of how it's presented here, but we'll stick with just the inline option. You can also enable a light box so it pops up and the background goes black if you wanted. But click through URL. Can't talk. If you click that at the bottom, that will enable you to link it to somewhere else. So if I were to give an example, I'll do this. For what I was sharing with you earlier, let's go to one more kid's picture. We'll do this next one on the list. And apply that one. Now let's say that these are actually much smaller images. These are the icons that you're talking about for Facebook and Twitter and Instagram or whatever. Again, what's so nice about this is it's drag and drop. So if you've linked both these images, you can grab it, hold on to it, and now come and just add that to the side and rearrange these sorts of things. But if you put several next to each other, you've now got your link. Does that make sense? Can you see it? Okay.
You don't have to take a picture out because it's wrong ratio on each side.
Yes.
That's gonna be so nice.
And then one more example that I'll do. That spacer that's on the side, if you wanted these smaller, I'm holding this on the side, so now it's going to go all the way down. If you move it around a little bit, it's going to be on different spots, which is hard for me to communicate this way. But I just created that spacer there, and then I'll put on the other side. And now these begin to get smaller. So if you had whatever size image and you want it just to be those small little icons in the middle, you kind of see what I'm saying? You can make it whatever size you want. So.
I've learned that spacers are a great way to kind of format, to get things kind of pushed over where you want, and also just, you can click and drag and drop, which is incredibly nice.
So one thing I haven't said to you guys that will make Tim's life a ton easier is to think about when you're designing this for mobile devices as well. So when people, something like 70 to 80% currently look at this content on mobile devices. So for example, I could have done something differently with these images rather than making them smaller. But when you think about what will that look like, and just pull it up on your phone when you're designing it, and then you can look at it in both spots, and you'll be able to see, okay, this is going to look good in those spots, so that it translates. Does that make sense?
The other helpful tool is how you can actually switch over to the mobile view
Oh,
in this
yes.
editor.
I should show you that.
So,
Thank you. Sorry. Okay, so yes. So in terms of viewing that, you can pull it up on your device. Another way to do that up here at the top is that little horizontal line right there. If you click on that, it shows you different device viewing options. So for example, Tim was talking about the mobile device. I click on that, and now you can see what that's going to look like. So it's going to rearrange those images that are next to each other so that it looks better on mobile into a stacked fashion.
yeah, that's very helpful when editing to keep mobile in mind.
Mm-hmm.
So, most of our traffic comes from Google, which is, and like Google Maps actually. So most people are on their phone, Google Maps website. So
Right.
it's like most of our traffic, so, yeah.
When you-
Awesome.
Sorry,
No,
I'm sorry, I
no,
lost my question.
go for it, go for it.
So when you put a stock image in, if it's already on the website anywhere, will it not come up as that option? Because it looked like that one went away once you already have it on the page, so we're not duplicating
That's a great
images?
question. Yes, that's a great question. I haven't been asked that before. I don't know that.
That means we get a free website.
I noticed when you searched kids, you selected the first one, and then when you searched it again.
It's different.
It's different,
That's a great
so-
question. So were IU, I would probably drag and drop and put it on my desktop so that I had it and could reuse it if you wanted to do it in that.
You've already selected it.
Well, I was just thinking, like, if Sarah puts it on her page, I don't wanna put it on my page, so if people are perusing the website, they don't see that, you know, several of us use the same exact image.
Yeah.
Like, I would.
Oh,
use
I
a
see what you're
different
saying.
image, Actually.
Yeah.
No, that's not functionality, yeah.
Okay.
You'll have to actually talk to each other, I'm sorry.
Now you say it.
I actually thought about that question, but didn't bring it up.
Good job.
But yes, if you want to do what I was saying, you would just save it, and then now I could drag and drop this to my desktop, and you could use it in multiple places.
Okay, thank you.
Good?
Awesome. Anyone else have any questions? This is the time to ask.
Got to bother Tim after
Is he
this.
gonna do it again? You'll hit record this time?
Yes.
So, the calendar, help me understand the calendar, is it linked to ACS? Or do
No.
we need to,
So,
we need to input all of our information?
so Sarah and I will actually be the ones going through and inputting everything. Just to kind of have a gatekeeper on that,
Yeah.
just so we don't get super cluttered, but also keep it very clean. Since, we kind of do that anyway with, anyway, you know, I forgot what the document is that has
Just a Google Doc
the,
announcement sheet.
announcement sheet that we do anyway, so we'll be filling that out.
So we need to-
so.
Put them in the announcement, that's the way they're gonna go on the calendar, is the announcement sheet.
So it's a good question, like, I already had a question for spring break Wednesday night, we're not having Wednesday nights, that probably needs to be on the calendar.
Sure.
So to do that, I would email Sarah, and just say,
Yeah.
hey, we need,
But there's things that you want on the calendar now, but I'm not announcing it. I'm not making lots of announcements about kids camp. But there are people saying, when is it going to be? And they're gonna look on the calendar.
Exactly.
So is there a way to look at Event U, or, I don't know,
I
but.
don't wanna link to Event U, cause it's
No,
super
for y'all to
cluttered,
look
but-
at Event
Oh,
U as you're
yes,
planning things out.
yes,
Is there, we know when baptisms are,
yeah.
you know,
Let
Should
me-
we, I mean, maybe, yeah, the
We
criteria
could start
would be
another,
helpful for us.
another Google Doc calendar,
That has something
something.
that's a little bit further
Mhm.
out, yeah. Would it be helpful for him to show us how to add a new event, but still have us go through it? I mean, still have us be the gatekeepers, but, I mean, just quickly how to add something? I mean, do you think that'd be helpful?
Can I just play devil's advocate? What would
Yeah.
we have at the church that we wouldn't want on the calendar?
Well, a lot of it's like recurring things, like there's all Hispanic ministry stuff is on the calendar, the cube, all
Staff meetings on.
graduation staff meetings, yeah, I mean, there's 10 different things that happens Wednesday nights that are all on the calendar. It just gets, I mean,
Weddings,
yeah, right now, our Event U calendar, I mean, there's 3 things every day, you know, so I'm trying to get that to where the average church member goes out, kind of what's that information that, you know, they're gonna wanna know.
Okay.
We'll just be the gatekeepers on that, but look kind of out, and that's something that in each one of your areas, be looking ahead, you know, so if you're getting things about kids camp, like, oh, I need to make sure that that's at least on the calendar, and it's not, you know, send us both, I'd say an email, and we'll coordinate that. Does that sound okay to you, or, yeah?
let's try it.
So, we'll try that, if it doesn't work, if this totally flops, I'll, you know, show y'all how to add events onto the calendar next month, so, but, I think that'll be good, and we can kind of also keep, because you do a lot of the writing for that anyway, so all that's gonna be just, you know, I think the best way.
so for now, email Sarah.
Email both of us,
Okay.
yeah, and then I'll try to make sure that we have content to go with it, at least some type of stock image
Okay.
or something, to add something, so yeah, just email both of us for calendars, so. Okay, great questions, anyone else?
One more question, so once we hit save, it's live on the internet? Or is there like a publish button?
No, once you click save, it goes live, it takes 5-10 seconds.
No cuss words, Krista.
Right, got it.
I will show this, yeah, again, this is just functionality, I don't know how you guys want to handle it, but
Sure.
for example, if you wanted to like overhaul your page, we'll go to preschool again, I go to that, so I go to preschool and then there's a little gear over here, click on that gear button, And the page is currently enabled, so if you wanted to just take the page down, you could. That's not what I was going to highlight, but you could. At the bottom, there's a duplicate page button, and if I duplicate this, it's going to take all of the current content and put it down here under the not linked section. So if you wanted to make a bunch of changes, you could duplicate it, make all the changes, and then change those out, and then it seamlessly would go live with all of the changes.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
Do that
If-
one more time.
okay, for sure. There's also a delete button over here on the side. Okay. So if I'm in the preschool page, and I've got this gear button over on the side, it's going to bring up all of these options. Scroll down to the bottom of that page.
What if the gear little thing isn't showing up?
Can you give me an
I mean,
example?
I'm looking at the same screen you are, and it's not.
It's not content. Yeah, sorry,
You're
that's
gonna have to.
different
contact-
permissions. Okay, sorry.
Contact me for that. I'll
Okay.
duplicate it, and then I'll put on there
There you go.
duplicate page. Okay. Awesome.
That's probably best so that there's not people
That's what we
deleting
do.
pages, all that stuff. Okay, yep, yep, that's best.
So,
Okay.
same with, let's say there is like a huge event, we wanna host a separate page for like Easter Family Fun Day or something, and we want like a full page, more than just the event calendar,
Yeah,
that we can have links to, that are linking to from the calendar to this, like Easter Family Fun Day, but also on the kids' page and on this, and everything it links over. I can create like an unlinked or non-linked, I forgot what it's called, page, and then you guys can go in and still edit that,
Mhm.
right? Just not create and delete
Mhm.
stuff, okay. Cool.
another thing that we've done in our context, which again, this is all, I'm just throwing options at you functionally,
Yeah, yeah.
but you could, we had reasons why we would want volunteers or different people to have access to a page, but not the public or not everyone. And so you could create a password protected page. So if for whatever reason you wanted only certain people to access, scroll down on that same way, that would be on Tim's end, but you could do that if, just so that you know that that functionality exists.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
And have access to just
If
for
we
a few.
wanted something like,
Mhm.
I don't know.
Well, Marriage Matters event, Marriage Matters Ministry, and you wanted Garrick and Heather to have edit privileges to that page, then they would be on password protected. They could go in there, they're high-capacity volunteers, and they can
Sure.
take care of that.
Sure, sure. Cool.
Cool.
Awesome. Okay, anything else? Awesome. Mark, thank you so much.
Yeah, good to be with you guys.